Welcome to the WordyGirl Entertainment Podcast. I am your writer-in-chief, Rosalind Jackson. I am a lover of words, and that love led me to a passion for writing. And what's the next best thing to writing? Talking about writing. So kick back and join me for mind-blowing chats about writing, covering everything from screenplays to novels to poetry, from nonfiction books to songwriting, and much more. Ericka Nicole Malone is a quadruple threat as an actress, writer, director, and producer, which up to this point has often been a man's territory. But the buzz of an emergence of a female voice is beginning to be heard around the country. Under her production company, Ericka Nicole Malone Entertainment LLC, Ericka has written, directed, and produced more than 9 stage plays, along with her business partner Philip Robinson, including the smash touring musical stage play In Love with Tyrone. Her provocative writing style and keen ability to connect with her audience makes Ericka an unmistakable figure in the entertainment business and is only second in her unique talent as a screenwriter. Ericka's latest venture as executive producer and screenwriter of a new television sitcom pilot, Ward of the State, starring the phenomenal Janet Hubert, Aloma Wright, and Vanessa Williams. Her 2 newest works are a 1-hour TV drama series called Della and a dramedy TV series called Welcome to the Good Life. So welcome to the WordyGirl Entertainment Podcast. I have Ericka Malone.
Hi, Rosalind.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for inviting me on your awesome show.
Thank you for being on.
Yeah.
So you started your writing career writing plays. What made you get into theater?
Well, when I was 13 years old, I auditioned for the Youth Performing Arts High School and in the theater program and wrote my monologue to get into the theater program at the school. It was a new school in Louisville, Kentucky at the time. And I auditioned and got in and was, one of the few African Americans at that time to get into that program in my particular grade. And it was an amazing experience. I think it opened the door for me really loving theater and really wanting to follow that path down the road.
Oh, wow. And how do you juggle being an actress, director, producer, and playwright / screenwriter?
It's a balance, especially I'm a mom too. So basically when you're a writer and being that I know you're an amazing writer as well, but when you're a writer, but when you're a writer, it's like it's part of who you are. It's just there's not really a choice. It's to have balance. You have to be writing something or to be thinking and creative, even if I jot something down. But it's I look at life as in phases and doors. And right now with, screenwriting was a door that I've been in the last few years and still doing that. And then balancing doing my play coming back up later this year as well. So I try to figure out what my heart wants me to do, what I'm going to be the most passionate about, and then follow that path. It has to be just it has to be a purpose. I feel a purpose, and then I follow it.
Okay. And when you write something, say you're writing for a play, because you're also a director and an actress, does that influence the way you write?
I think so. I think absolutely. I think I started directing plays in high school. I took a playwriting class after school. After my theater during the day was done, I took a playwriting class, and we had to direct our own plays. And I think since then, and then directing after that, in college, and doing plays in college, and then touring professionally with different plays, I think when I write now, I see it from the perspective of not just what the audience wants to see, but just theatrically as a director, how will it look best on stage? The same with film, I'm actually on the set and thinking as I'm writing something how it will look on screen, as well as how it will look to the audience member, because I'm an avid theater goer. So yeah, it's definitely I think directing helps me to write with more color than I would probably write just as a writer itself. I think every writer should direct something. It just kind of gives you, especially in theater, it just gives you, there's something very beautiful about directing. After you direct something and you produce it and you have a couple thousand people come to theater and then the audience tells you if they didn't like it or not. And I've had plenty of shows growing up. I was doing shows at 18, 19 years old in theaters. And I've had plenty of shows where people paid $27, $30 and they're like, they loved it. And then another show they didn't like and they'd come pull me to the side and, okay, now baby, you're gonna have to work on your sound. Because that sound wasn't. So I feel like I was kind of raised as a writer by the community in these different cities I've gone to with all these people who have been so supportive. Black mothers, Black churches, and then cradled me and then helped me to know what's funny and not funny. So I write based on, and even the drama, because of plays, they talk to the audience talks to the actors on stage. So I kind of have a feel on what the audience is going to like and what they're not going to like based on, my experience with touring.
Okay. It's like you get that instant feedback.
Yeah, it's like, and it's very visceral. Like, for instance, in Love with Tyrone, when he's like, cheating on the wife and then he's trying to get her back and they're like in the back row, like I'm concerned for the actor because they're like really angry with it. It's like, you better not take him back, so it's like, it's, oh my God. So, but it's like, that's how I know that the line was something that really tugged at them. And then I also know if a play falls flat, okay, I'm not putting enough of my emotion in these lines. I don't write for me, I write for them.
Okay.
And I think that's the difference. I'm not just writing, okay, well, do I like it? It's like, what do I think the people want to see right now? What do I think they're feeling? What's like the Me Too movement, or what's the heartbeat of the nation right now? And let's write based on trying to open up some of these conversations.
Okay. And how do you compare playwriting to screenwriting? Which do you prefer?
There's so complete opposites.
Right.
Yeah, complete opposites. Playwriting is, you can do a 2-hour monologue and less action, more monologue, more character driven. Whereas screenwriting is a lot more action. Still great dialogue, but lots of action and color. And I guess I love both of them and have fallen in love with both. It was definitely a screenwriting. Which do I prefer? I do like the reach of film and television to the masses. Whereas theater is amazing and it's very intimate and you can get 2,000 people or in Tyler Perry's case, 10,000 people, depending on which play you put on. But, it's still very intimate. But, I like that you can reach millions of people with something you wrote. So I guess I'm leaning more towards screenwriting right now and, than I do plays.
Yeah, to me, they are completely different worlds. And like, I appreciate them for their differences.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, Tyler Perry, I like his theater work better than the film work because like you make certain allowances for theater that you wouldn't for a film.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that assessment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I spent most of my holiday watching a bunch of Broadway shows and the same thing. I felt like I'm on the edge of my seat just looking at some of those musicals, My Lady being one of my favorite, but you're on the edge of your seat with some of those, the transformation of the characters, and you feel like that person's talking to you.
Right.
I like transcending some of that energy though to film, and that I want to make the characters feel like, even though it is broad, that there is an intimacy with the actors. With the characters in when I'm writing. So that's what I try to do.
Okay. And so for your TV writing, tell me about your project, Word of the State.
Yes, I shot that pilot a few years ago. And me and my business partner, who's in Tennessee, we shot that self-financed it. We had some producers work with us on it. And it was a really amazing experience. It was definitely like getting baptized in the television industry, knowing, how things work, because it's completely different. I mean,
Right.
I had spent 20 years, if I want to go to Miami, I just, call the theater and I book it and I call the real estate and that's over. I can get that done in 2 weeks. So whereas it's very fluid and slower pace in television, and you can't, just because you produce it doesn't mean it's going to get picked up in that period. Very slow pace. So it was a different feel, but I mean, I respect it. I respect each one. And so, yeah, we shot that, and it was an amazing experience. I worked with Janet Huber, who originally was Aunt Viv on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the first Aunt Viv, and she was amazing to work with, and a lot of fun. And she made it a really awesome experience, and still still talking to all these actors now as we're stopping that show. And so, yeah, it was a great experience, and then kind of cut my teeth to where I started to write other projects after that, both drama and dramedies after Word of the State. Okay.
And are you still shopping that one around to networks?
Yes, still shopping that out to networks. And actually, weirdly enough, I have a few people very interested in it right now. It's weird because I've been writing all the other ones, and now all of a sudden it's like that one's like in the first one possibly getting picked up. But I'm excited about the show. It's I love our people. I love African Americans, and spent not to digress too much, so much time with my grandmother growing up as a little girl. So my grandmother and her aunts and playing bingo, and so most of my childhood was around old people. So I was thinking, and getting wisdom from them that it's just you couldn't pay me enough money to give back. And so I kind of transcended that, and these stories were to state, making us look what we are, which is smart, beautiful, and glamorous. And it's not fictional that we're doing that. That's who we are, people. And so that's what Word to State does, about basically an eclectic writer who's all of a sudden forced to move in with her, or basically her mother, her very Black Audrey Hepburn, Diana Ross mother, has to move in with her after her husband passed away. So it's really funny. And basically Janet Huber loves that role. And she said that is one of the last roles I want to play before I die.
Oh, wow.
I mean, she loves the role, and it's just fantastic. So really excited for that to see the light of day. Really excited for that.
Okay. And what about your project, Della? Are you able to talk on that one?
Yeah, I can talk about that one. Basically, I just have the most amazing different kinds of stories that are so diverse. Like I said, Word State is loosely based on my amazing mom, the Black Audrey Hepburn, Diana Ross, and the eclectic writer being me, and our fantastic relationship. And it really is fantastic. And then Della is basically about, I wanted to show Kentucky. I don't see that a lot on television, of the richness of Kentucky. Besides there's some negative things that just recently took place, but there has been some great things. And definitely Kentucky, both Black and white, really supported my career in terms of, giving money. And I mean, when I was, in my early 20s, not having money, and 18, just gave me money to do shows and everything. So I wanted to, to kind of talk about, basically, she's a Black woman in her 50s who's basically a Black vigilante who protects women from domestic violence and hides them from their abusers. And it's a take on how smart Black women are, and how we've had to survive with very minimal help from the world around us, and had to rely on our ingenuity. And I wanted to show that. So it's the reason I had her in her 50s, again, spending a lot of time with older people. We just don't get represented. You see the Golden Girls, but you don't see these fierce Black women who are in their 50s and doing their thing, 50s, not say, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever. But I wanted to show her in her 50s, and she basically is the protector of the community. So it's a somewhat true story of a woman my mother knew, and I wanted to kind of pay homage to her. And it's not something you would think I'd write because it's definitely a darker tone show, but it is a show that I think shows us in terms of how defiant we are to anyone trying to shut us down. And
yeah, that sounds like a really interesting premise. I would like to see something like that.
Yeah, she's a fantastic woman, and I met her, and I modernized it, and she was just this amazing looking woman, and she was both a hero and a villain, and I wanted to kind of show both sides and show why she was the way she was, but quite honestly, she saved a lot of women's lives in that city, and so I wanted to kind of celebrate her and bring her to life, bring her back to life.
Okay. And I know you have another project you're working on called Welcome to the Good Life. And so tell us about that one.
Completely different show. It's like all of these are just so extremely different. But Welcome to the Good Life, I have this amazing brother. I have actually 3 amazing brothers, but this particular amazing brother, he is recently, the adoption is almost finalized, but he brought this beautiful blonde-haired, blue-eyed little boy into our lives 3 years ago, about almost 4 years ago now. And at the time when he said he was going to adopt, I'm thinking, okay, it's awesome. We help our people. We bring little black, and he was white, and it was great for me because I never saw myself as prejudiced. I think I'm like amazing. I'm so inclusion. I'm believe diverse, but. It was like it tested you, and you're like, oh wow, that's awesome. We can be just as loving to someone who's white as we can to someone who's black. And he brought such beauty to my life and helped me to understand that I didn't know as much as I thought I did, and he learned that he didn't know as much as he thought he did. And so it's been the most amazing experience of my life. One of them to have him in my life. I love him dearly. So basically, I just imagine his life in 20 years. And how he is going to see the black experience completely different than most white men. And in that he eats collard greens. He goes to his black grandmother. I have a video of him dancing with my mother.
Oh, wow.
He dances to the black music at the birthday parties. But if you would just see him apart from our family, he is as blonde and blue-eyed as you'd ever want to be. But he also is as beautiful as you ever want to be. So basically, I imagine his life. The tagline to Welcome Good Life is Lance is getting back to his roots. And basically, he wants to come back. He moves to Texas with his wife and has kids with his white wife and has kids, but he misses Detroit. He misses home. And he gets a job and basically wants to move back in, until he finds a house with his parents so that his kids, who he feels are a little disconnected financially because his wife is rich, and he wants his kids to know what it was like growing up in a black neighborhood. So it's getting back to his roots. But so Welcome to the Good Life is basically him saying, hey, I want you to I mean, they know, of course they know the family, but they know what it's like to live with. He's basically reenacting childhood to a certain degree. It's a really good show. And, that's also so all these shows have a piece of me in them and different.
Yeah, they definitely say your best writing is when you write what you know.
Yes. Yeah. And this I know just because our family is so diverse. But, it's just, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
And what is your writing process when you first get an idea? Like, how do ideas come to you? And once you get an idea, what's your process? How do you get started?
Yeah, it's just like for instance, I have 3 or 4 scripts right now that are like filed away in my head, and I'm just so busy. It's getting to them, and I guess that will come in a minute. But it'll just kind of come over me, and then the thoughts will consume me. And a lot of times, I know everyone doesn't do this, but I literally become the different characters in a script. And so the lines are so different because I'm actually the different people I'm writing. And I'm actually, and then a lot of that comes, again, the theater background helps a lot because I take that theater background with me as I'm writing the lines. and thinking about a lot of character backstory on who the people are, what was their intent to say this particular line.
Mm-hmm.
And I do a lot of ringing out with lines, and I might write a script and then not come back to it for a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm, oh my gosh, I can't believe I wrote that. This is terrible. And then I completely change the lines and make them better. So it's as long as I just have to feel like they're true, and I have to feel like they come from a place. And what place? Is it jealousy? Is it pain? Is it, is it joy? Like, what is your reason for saying that line? So it can audience.
Okay. And do you ever experience writer's block?
I do experience writer's block at times, but when I do, I know it's something personal I'm going through that, and maybe the writer's block is I'm just tired. And I just need to take a week off and just group and come back to it. But it's always something within me. It's never, I can't write, I can't think of what to write. I think the characters are always there.
Okay.
You connect to them. Why aren't you able to connect with that space? It's something that, for me, it's always been something that I'm going through personally that makes me have writer's block.
Okay. And like, how do you get through it?
Yeah, I do a lot of meditation and prayer, just to be real. A lot of prayer, meditation, a lot of just sitting in silence. I know people always have to have a phone on. Texting is like almost the worst thing that ever happened, because I'm a word person, so people's words immediately get into my head.
Yes.
So I'll have to turn off the phone. I'll turn off television. I'll spend a day with nothing, no TV, nothing. And somewhere in that process, it just starts. I can start feeling myself coming back. Also, it's just important to keep a lot of negative people out of your headspace. That can shut me down pretty quickly if I have that. I try to keep really positive people around me.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, it is. Just psyche.
Yeah, they can just, their energy will jump onto you, and then you're all in this weird space, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think I'm a very emotional person, but then I'm also very measured. So I have a lot of discernment. So I have a high sensitivity. I can sense when an atmosphere is not right. I'll just remove myself if it's right. And I think that helps with my writing a lot. I don't allow myself to get penetrated with a lot of negativity.
Okay. And do you, as a writer, journal, or do you do a lot of reading?
Yes, I journal. Weirdly enough, and this is so sad, but I spent my childhood a lot by myself. I would be with my grandmother's house, but I spent a lot of time able to write and journal, and I write every day. I write something every day.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, every day. I mean, it can just be a sentence. It can be a paragraph. I'm just too hard for me to jumpstart myself if I don't. So I write something every day, and I read a lot of books. I also have a lot of things I intend to read and don't read.
Me too.
Like, I'm going to get to this book. But I do read a lot of books, and I read a lot of magazines too, that positive magazines or tech magazines, like to know what else is coming. Because I think a lot of that I think it's really important to read what the current events are if you're a writer, so that you're able to melt a lot of that into your writing.
Yeah, sometimes I read, not the newspapers, but because everything is online now.
Yes.
So even just scrolling through Facebook, it's basically a newspaper, really. And so I try to stay away from, looking at that stuff. But then again, it's like, okay, well, you kind of have to know about this stuff so you can write about it and, things like that. So, so I understand on that level.
Tell you the challenge of social media being a writer, because I can get so consumed with it, like with, oh my gosh, this happened. Okay. That I'll get off track. So you have to really balance social media. I wanted to make sure I added that. It's like, be on it, but like, don't because people be on it like 9-10 hours a day. And it's difficult to do that and be a writer too.
Yes, absolutely. And let's see, what are you watching right now on TV, or what movies have you seen recently?
Um, I have been watching I watch a lot of Netflix. I don't always know the titles, but I watch a lot of things on Netflix.
Hmm.
I don't watch television as much as I'd like to, just because I'm in the writing process. Weirdly enough, when I'm writing,
Hmm.
I don't like watching too many things because I don't like to take anything by accident just by listening too much or take an idea or concept too much.
Hmm.
I'm not writing is actually when if I'm not writing a script like I am right now, I'm writing a few, then I'll watch several shows.
Hmm.
I like diverse shows. I like comedies. I like A Modern Family.
Hmm.
And it's funny. I like a Blackish and it's funny, but then I might watch, you I think it was, is it Shonda Rhimes, How to Get Away with Murder? Is that the
Yes.
name of the show?
Hmm.
I might watch something that's completely opposite from a comedy. Um, and I might watch Arrow. I like the first season of Arrow. I don't like the seasons after it, but I like things that are complicated.
Hmm.
That I just, because I'm bad at figuring things out, really, and I hate that I'm like that. So it has to be something where I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know that was. So a lot of good shows I think are coming on that they're making. I'm interested to see.
Hmm.
But yeah, I watch a lot of diverse things in terms of television. In terms of film, I like a big array of films, from dramatic movies to sci-fi
Hmm.
to like Black Panther. Um, I like a lot of diverse kinds of movies.
Hmm.
So I love period movies.
Hmm.
So I like a wide range of movies. I love movies about our people that show us, and like I said, that's why Black Panther is so amazing, in a positive light, show us
Yes.
um, a different light than what's
Hmm.
expected. And I
Yes.
think that I carry some of the writing into a different light than what's expected. So,
Okay. And what would you say? What's next for you?
um, you know, I'm really excited about creating. So, just creating films, creating television, creating plays,
Hmm.
musical, and writing could be books. I'm just wanting to add to the long list of amazing people that have already done this before me.
Hmm.
Just help to add something else to the story that can be a positive and make us look great and amazing. And yeah, so I think the next step would be, right now I'm just screenwriting, and God's really opened up doors with that in
Hmm.
terms of, some television projects. And my business partner and I are definitely now wanting to really, finance some things and get our stories out there. And so I'm excited about that next step, and to see what happens, where God takes me next.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a great plan.
Thank you. You're
So,
awesome.
huh?
Rob. I said, you're an awesome interviewer.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I'm actually new at this, so I'm like trying to,
Really?
get my my
Yeah.
professional Oprah going on.
You are Oprah. I'm like, then when I was 6, I want to just open up. You're so good.
Thank you, thank you. I hope those little dinging sounds didn't come through. Somebody's texting
No,
me and it's coming
no.
on my phone.
I no, no, I didn't hear anything.
Oh,
But you
okay.
have a great voice from this end. Like
Oh,
it's a
thank
great.
you.
Yeah, I just want to say that.
Oh,
You can
thank you
edit
so much. And so, yeah, thank you so much for doing the interview, and I appreciate
it.
it. And so, tell the people where they can find you online.
Yeah, you can find me at www.ericanicolemalone.com. I'm about to have a new website coming up. But you can find me there, or you can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook. I'm about to do my Instagram. So, yeah, just humbly thank you. And you can follow me, and hopefully I'll create something that makes you proud.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right.
Thank you so much, Rosalind,
You're
for having me.
welcome. Thanks for taking the time to tune in to the WordyGirl Entertainment Podcast. Don't forget to check out my blog at www.wordygirlent.com. That's WordyGirlent.com. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at WordyGirlEnt and on Facebook at www.facebook.com/WordyGirlEnt. And always remember, it all begins with a single word. So what are you waiting for? Go write.